kids got bad grades, they'd be in so much trouble. No video games, TV, or fun. I'm just kidding.
They're just grades. Let's dive a little deeper. Send my kids to school for more than a letter grade. I like hearing about their friendships, the drama on the playground, the clubs they're participating in. I like to hear about their favorite subjects and the tests they're not looking forward to. I like hearing what they had for lunch, which is an interesting one with my youngest kiddo because she refuses to tell me what she eats for lunch, but she does provide a daily broccoli update. Every day I pick her up from school and she looks at me and says, "They tried to feed me broccoli today," or "They didn't try to feed me broccoli today." To which I reply, "Well, what did you eat, bud?" And she goes, "I don't remember, but I did have chocolate milk." Anyway, when we send the kids to school, they're not just learning math, they're learning how to socialize and be people outside of the family. They're not just learning reading, they're learning time management and responsibility. So sure, as a parent, I get delivered this report card, but that's only a small piece of the puzzle. My kids know that I really don't care what their grades look like so long as they're trying. There's always going to be subjects that they're naturally better at, things they're more interested in. But if there's a subject that they are struggling with, my only expectation is that they seek out help when they need it and that they try their best.
I really value my kids' education, but I don't think grades are the most important piece of that.
I want my kids to enjoy learning and understand new concepts. I don't just want them memorizing facts to get every question right on a test. What's interesting to me as a parent of multiple kids is to see the different subjects that they excel in and to see their different learning styles. My eldest kiddo really enjoys math, but she really struggles with time tests. In her class, they do these time math facts quizzes, and she really doesn't like them. They often come home not even half finished. Now, with these tests, you don't even have to do them in order. You just have to do as many facts as you can, as fast as you can. So one day I asked her about it and she said, "Well, I just really don't understand why it's set up this way. Sure, I could get way more done if I just did the ones that I already knew and had memorized, but how am I supposed to learn the new facts if I don't take the time to think about them?" And hearing how she considered this was really important to understand how she was learning. One of the reasons that I don't have a huge focus on grades is because of the unnecessary pressure it can put on kids. My oldest kiddo puts so much pressure on herself because she takes her education so seriously. So instead of pushing her to do even better and have perfect grades, I push her to be more patient with herself. That same kiddo is above and beyond her grade level in reading. And one day she said to me, "Mom, I'm really good at reading, but I'm not so good at math." And I was like, whoa, you can't say you're not good at math because you're better at reading. The skills aren't really comparable. But then I continued by asking her, "Are you struggling with math? Do you need extra help?" And she said, "No, I'm fine in math. I'm just not as good at it as reading." And there it was, the pressure she was putting on herself.
I mean, there's a multitude of reasons a kid might have a bad grade.
Do they enjoy learning? Are they happy to go to school? How are their friendships and social life? How is their home life? Did they miss a few days of school? Are they struggling with a new concept introduced in one of their classes? Are they afraid to ask for help?
See a bad grade as a problem that needs solving, not as a bad behavior that needs punishing.
A bad grade is a symptom of a bigger problem. If it's consistently low, did they need extra help or tutoring? If the grade suddenly fell, why? Let's find the root of that problem so we can solve it. If I just yell and punish my kids for bringing home a bad grade without taking the time to figure out why the grade fell, I'm not going to be helping them bring that grade back up. Oftentimes we have to break things down into smaller pieces for our kids to fully understand. Like if I want my young child to clean their room, I'm not just going to say clean your room and expect them to fully understand what that means. They might know what a clean room looks like, but do they know how to do it? So instead I might say, okay, first we're going to clean up our stuffies. Next we're going to clean up our dolls. Then is there any trash laying around? Oh, I see some laundry. Let's pick that up. And then we have the clean room. They're now understanding the steps it takes to get from point A to point B. I use a similar line of thinking when it comes to my kids' grades. So if their A falls to a C, we're figuring out why. Oh, you're missing some assignments? Why? Oh, you missed a few days of school. Well, did you talk to your teacher about it? No, why not? How can we make up these assignments? Do you need some extra help because of the time you missed? How can we handle this better next time? You've got to take the initiative and communicate with me, with your teacher. You've got this. We can figure it out and do better. Sometimes we have to break these steps down for them and help them along the way as they learn to do it for themselves.
I was a straight A student growing up until I reached the 7th grade. At the time, I'd gone through a huge trauma and my home life was out of control, so my grades started to slip.
Kids can be stressed out, kids can have trauma, kids can struggle with their mental health. And if they're struggling in other areas of their life, how could they possibly prioritize schoolwork and their grades?
By the time I started high school, my mental health was so bad that I was starting to fail.
When I was going through this in school, my failing grades were seen as a personal failure. I should have tried harder, done better, met all the expectations no matter what I was going through.
Punished for the bad grades, which made my mental health worse, which made my grades worse.
I remember that hopeless feeling as a kid, thinking, what does it matter? Who cares about my grades when no one cares about me? It was a vicious cycle that thankfully I broke just enough to graduate on time.
But the thing is, I didn't want to do bad in school. I was just struggling so much out of school that I couldn't make my brain work for school.
Mental health is so important for kids and adults. When my mental health is bad, I struggle to do everything that I need to get through the day. The same can be expected of kids in their schoolwork. If they're struggling with these big feelings they don't know how to manage, how can they be expected to focus and excel in the classroom? I communicate with my kids about mental health on the regular. Mental health is health. My kids know that I go to therapy because I have big feelings I have to work through and I need extra help. They also know that if the tools and coping mechanisms that I teach them aren't helping enough, that we can get them help too. We call it a feelings doctor. So if my kids are overwhelmed and asking me for help, I have a responsibility to find them that help, even if it's not me who can provide it.
My 9-year-old has been a straight A student since she started school, but last year she brought home a progress report where one of her grades had fallen to a C.
This was back in virtual learning during lockdown. I was really surprised because she hadn't communicated that she was struggling with anything. She's always been a really independent learner and she had her video meet, so I thought she was on top of things. I was wrong.
I looked into it and she was missing a lot of assignments and that wasn't like her.
I found myself frustrated because if she wasn't doing the assignments, what was she doing? But I didn't want to bring that negative energy into the conversation, so I took some time to really get myself level-headed before I went to talk to her. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If it's not an emergency, you don't have to respond right away.
Instead of getting mad at her for not doing the assignments, I asked her why they didn't get done.
I ask my kids so many questions, especially in moments of tension or in instances where I don't understand a decision they've made. I want to see how they got from point A to point B. Sometimes it's logical and it can help me to help them. Sometimes I'm able to find a flaw in their reasoning and get them back on track.
I got really upset because it turns out she was really struggling with that subject in school.
Immediately I understood what had happened. She'd never struggled with school before and it hurt her confidence. The new learning environment and just the stress of the time in general surely wasn't helping. And she internalized those feelings and was avoiding the problem, which must be genetic because I do the same thing.
She's afraid to ask for help. She's shy and she never needed help before.
This was the most surprising part of this for me. I hadn't considered how difficult it might be to ask for help in class over a Zoom meeting, or how her learning style might not be a great fit for virtual learning. There are so many moving factors when it comes to a situation like this.
Talked about it together and then talked to her teacher and she got back on track.
So after we identified the problems, I told her that she did need to make up the assignments and that she needed to talk to her teacher. Sometimes I'll step in and be the one to talk to my kids' teachers, but in this situation, I thought it was important for her to do it. It was good for her to have the practice asking for help and for her to see that her teacher wanted to help and that she wasn't going to be in trouble for struggling. Accountability is important and I can't fix all of her mistakes for her. So I reassured her that her teacher was very kind and would much rather she ask for help than skip assignments. And I did stick around for the conversation just for moral support. But I did also talk to her teacher privately, especially because of the age she was at the time. I wanted to make sure her teacher and I were on the same page, and I wanted to see if there was anything extra I could do on my end to help support her in her learning.
I learned that I needed to be more proactive than reactive when it came to offering her support.
There are some things in parenting that we can be more reactive with, but in this case I learned that I had to be more proactive. While my daughter is an independent learner and prefers to be independent, she really needed me to check in more, and I needed to take the steps to figure out all of the assignments that came in so I could help her keep track of them. This was both of our first times doing virtual learning, and there were certainly some growing pains. We had to be patient with each other.
I punished her for the missing assignments and low grade. I wouldn't be contributing to her success, I'd be contributing to the problem.
If I'd have gone in with the initial frustration to the missing assignments and just punished her, I would have missed the opportunity to help her. I really needed to understand the various factors that were causing her problems so that I could help her solve them. By letting go of my feelings on the situation and prioritizing my kid and her feelings, I was able to identify the things she was struggling with, help her find solutions, and help her learn to communicate in better ways so that she could avoid problems like this in the future. By skipping punishing her, we were able to work on so many more things.
I think if we want our kids to succeed, we have to be on their team.
This is how I really feel about education. It's a team sport. My kiddos, their teachers, and I are the main players on our team. But the teachers' aides and assistants, the librarian, their classmates, their siblings, they're all part of the team too. These are all people influencing my kiddos outside of my words. And they matter. Anyway, thanks for being here, friends. If you want to hear about how I handle my kids breaking expensive things, check out this video or check out the whole playlist. Just be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. I'll see you next week. Okay, bye.